What's up, music fans of the internet? I'm Kevin.
I'm Derek.
And together we are last week's album, The Only Reviews, with two different views. And in this episode, we're exploring the question, does Lori McKenna's The Bird and the Rifle hit the target? Let's get into it. Cheers, Derek, and everyone at home.
Cheers, Kevin, everyone at home.
Lori McKenna, you might not know her by name, but you've definitely heard her music. She is based in Stoughton, Massachusetts. She's been making music and writing for over 20 years now, and she's written hits for Little Big Town, Tim McGraw, Faith Hill, and others. And this here is her 10th album. It was produced by Dave Cobb, who's recently worked with Sturgill Simpson, Jason Isbell, and Chris Stapleton. So let's talk about what it sounds like. Derek, what do you think?
Kevin, I think The Bird and the Rifle sounds like Reba McEntire and Bruce Springsteen go hunting for new songs with emotive, heart-piercing lyrics.
Nice. I think it sounds like Stevie Nicks and John Prine swap songs around a campfire.
I think you're definitely hitting the strong songwriting on the head there.
Let's talk about some highlights from the album. What's your first one, Derek?
You know, one thing that really stood out to me was the strong lyrics. One review I read described her ability to, quote, convey the inner lives of women trapped in soured relationships. But I really think the lyrics can speak to anyone regardless of gender or relationship status. Humble and kind being an example of that. I'd go into specific examples, but then I'd be quoting the entire song.
Funny you mentioned that, Derek. Songwriting is my number one highlight from this album. I also had in my notes relatable topics. She talks about love, but she also talks about nostalgia and family. She talks about a lot of really interesting characters, and I think that keeps it really sort of relatable for the average person.
Another highlight to me was the minimal instrumentation. It really creates this strong country western blues and folk sound that really highlights McKenna's vocals and, more importantly, the lyrics, as we just talked about. There's never anything that really steals too much attention away from those and just really highlights what a strong songwriter she is.
You're reading my mind with this review, Derek. Another one of my highlights is just the production is done very tastefully. It never gets in the way of the songs. Obviously, this is sort of a songwriter album. The lyrics come through very crisp and clearly everywhere, and the music never gets in their way, but just sort of serves to complement them and play on the specific mood or character for a song.
From a track perspective, I really dug Giving Up on Your Hometown. A lot of strong lyrics there again. Halfway Home, another one chock full of outstanding lyrics. And again, Humble and Kind, as I kind of alluded to earlier. This one, people may recognize as this was also recorded by Tim McGraw, but Lori McKenna's recording of this doesn't suck either.
Yeah, and you can tell she wrote it as a message sort of to her kids, and all her sort of personal attachment to it comes through on that song. Yeah, I think Humble and Kind was a really great track. I agree on Giving Up on Your Hometown. The only other one that you didn't mention, Derek, would be The Bird and the Rifle, track number 2, and the title track of the album, which I think is probably my favorite song on this album. It's a powerful story, some really great lyrics, this sort of lilting melody, and bells and strings sort of come in towards the end. There's just a great opening line. She sings, "There's a bird making coffee in the kitchen, and there's a rifle out back smoking cigarettes." And that's sort of where things start, and I won't give away the ending.
I'm glad you're not giving that away, because I think really people need to go check that out.
All right. Any lowlights, Derek?
If anything, I thought maybe the lack of musical variety was potentially a lowlight, but at the same time, I think a lot of that lack of variety was more to highlight the focus or the attention on the songwriting and the lyrics themselves.
For me, where it was lacking variety was just sort of tempo. A lot of the songs are at the sort of mid to slow range, and it ends up giving a lot of them sort of a similar vibe or feeling, even though they are about different things. Those are some highlights and some lowlights. Let's get to the overall rating and answer the big question, Derek. Does Lori McKenna's The Bird and the Rifle hit the target? What do you say?
Kevin, to start with the big question, I think it's a resounding yes. It's a clean shot, bullseye. To really highlight her strength as a songwriter is fully accomplished here. And again, as we kind of alluded to earlier, this is so relatable. Even though a song might be written from the perspective of a woman in a tough relationship, I think there are a lot of lessons and themes to be gleaned as a male listener, such as myself. And so I think just the way she draws listeners in and the way she pulls emotional strings on here is really, really astounding. The lack of pace or sounds, it's a very minor negative. And so that being said, I'm giving this one a 4 out of 5.
Right on. We will agree for the most part. Does she hit the target with this record? I think, yep, she's pretty dead on. It's a very emotional album. It's also very true and very simple and incredibly well written and well produced. I really enjoyed this one as well. So I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 as well. I think it's a great record for backcountry drives or lazy afternoons. And with those combined scores, that's an 8 out of 10 for Lori McKenna's The Bird and the Rifles. Definitely check out this album and let us know what you think about it. Don't forget to subscribe to us either here on YouTube or on the podcast. And as always, I'm Kevin.
I'm Derek.
Cheers, guys. We'll see you next time.